Hey y'all, welcome back to Real Talk by Jay. I know it's been too long, but just ignore that on the TV. I'm at the hotel with my team for nationals, and I knew God's been putting on my heart to start doing my podcast again because I've had a lot of podcasts, like sermons, typed up, written out. Like, I've done them, but I just haven't had the time or the energy to like make the video. So instead of me waking up later, I woke up today at 8 a.m. so that I can make this video for y'all. So I'm gonna continue the series that I started, the waiting season. And I'm gonna be starting from Genesis 39. This book is pretty long. Let me see, should I read all of it? Yeah, I'm gonna read all of it so that y'all can understand what I'm saying. So, Joseph and Potiphar's wife. Now, Joseph, let me do closer because I am in the lobby. Now, Joseph had been taken down to Egypt. Potiphar, an Egyptian who was one of Potiphar's officials, the captain of the guard, bought him from the Ishmaelites who had taken him there. The Lord was with Joseph so that he prospered, and he lived in the house of his Egyptian master. When his master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord gave him success in everything he did, Joseph found favor in his eyes and became his attendant. Potiphar put him in charge of his household, and he entrusted to his care everything he owned. From the time he put him in charge of his household and of all that he owned, the Lord blessed the household of the Egyptian because of Joseph. The blessing of the Lord was on everything Potiphar had, both in the house and in the field. So Potiphar left everything he had in Joseph's care, with Joseph in charge. He did not concern himself with anything except the food he ate. Now Joseph was well built and handsome, and after a while his master's wife took notice of Joseph and said, "Come to bed with me." But he refused. "With me in charge," he told her, "my master does not concern himself with anything in the house. Everything he owns he has entrusted to my care. No one is greater in this house than I am. My master has withheld nothing from me except you, because you are his wife. How then could I do such a wicked thing and sin against God?" And though she spoke to Joseph day after day, he refused to go to bed with her and even be with her. One day he went into the house to attend to his duties, and none of the household servants was outside. She caught him by his cloak and said, "Come to bed with me." But he left his cloak in her hand and ran out of the house. When she saw that he had left his cloak in her hand and had ran out of the house, she called her household servants. "Look," she said to them, "this Hebrew has been brought to us to make sport of us. He came in here to sleep with me, but I screamed. When he heard me scream for help, he left his cloak beside me and ran out of the house." She kept his cloak beside her until his master came home. Then she told him this story. "That Hebrew slave you brought us came to me to make sport of me. But as soon as I screamed for help, he left his cloak beside me and ran out of the house." When his master heard the story, his wife told him, he said, "This is how your slave treated me." Wait. Oh no, that's what the wife said. "This is how your slave treated me." He burned with anger. Joseph's master took him and put him in prison, the place where the king's prisoners were confined. But while Joseph was there in prison, the Lord was with him. He showed him kindness and granted him favor in the eyes of the prison ward. So the warden put Joseph in charge of all those held in the prison, and he was made responsible for all that was done down there. The warden paid no attention to anything under Joseph's care, because the Lord was with Joseph and gave him success in whatever he did. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, that's chapter 39. So I wrote some notes on my iPad, but I did it through notes, so I'm gonna just read it from here. So in the verses, it shows that in the midst of Joseph going through what he went through, God was still with him and even elevated him in anything that he touched because he trusted God's plan and timing. And I put in a star. I said, even though he may have not understood what God was doing, based on what I know, he trusted the process. And then I also put another star that says a common struggle that a lot of people struggle with is truly tapping into trusting the process. And I can say this for myself. Yes, I can be patient. I'm a very patient person. But trusting the process, especially when I'm on the other end of getting like negativity being brought into my life. So if there are setbacks or something happens that I didn't want to happen, like just different things like that, it's hard for me to trust the process. Or if I see something good like about to approach, then I'm like, oh, let me just anticipate this opportunity. And sometimes God's like, nah, like you gotta trust the process. You gotta let it come to you instead of you going to it. Okay. When Potiphar realized that the Lord was with Joseph, he made sure he put him in charge of his household, which in my opinion is super smart, because if I was Potiphar and I saw that this random kid, everything he touched, like it was at par, like God's hand was on it, I'm about to hire you myself. Like, you about to be over everything. I'm not gonna have to worry about nothing. I can actually like sit back and chill and just deal with my life and not having to deal with other people's. Okay. So it said all while this was going on, Potiphar's wife was trying to get Joseph's attention and see what was up with him. She asked him to have sex with him. She asked him to have sex with her, but he refused over and over and over and over again, because obviously that was Potiphar's wife, and second, he didn't want to sin against God. And that's another thing that I feel like a lot of people struggle with stop messing with other people. Like, if you know someone got somebody, why are you messing with them? Because at that point you sinning against God, and that's not okay. Yeah, that's just no. One day she comes around. I'm just giving a summary. So obviously she comes back around, asking to have sex with her, and he refused. She took his cloak, and she used that as a way to help her lie story that she told her husband Potiphar. So eventually, obviously, he got upset. He threw Joseph in the prison. And then something that I put in a star that just blew my mind whenever I was reading, like, he put him in prison. Okay, understandable. But yeah, it's just God was still with Joseph, with him being in prison. So I put, the crazy thing is Joseph was doing the right thing but still got persecuted. It's sometimes that can happen in our lives. I can definitely agree. That has happened in my life. I don't know if it happened in your life, but it's definitely happened in my life. And it's sometimes it only makes me laugh, because it's just like there's no way I'm being persecuted and I did the right thing. I did everything right this time. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, somehow it just gotta happen, But it's okay. We just always gotta trust God in these situations. And based on, I don't know Joseph like that, but based on the story, I can hope or think that he was mad, frustrated, and confused. But despite how he was feeling, he still trusted God. And I think that's another struggle that sometimes I struggle with. Like, in a situation like that where I know I did the right thing. I know that I've been keeping myself in order. I'm keeping myself accountable with certain things. And then something bad happened, and just like, okay, like I'm studying for a test and I get a bad grade. Just like I can understand if I ain't study, but if I'm putting all my time into this and I'm still not getting the grade that I want, like it's gonna be frustrating. But from there, I gotta be like, all right, God, like I'm trusting you. I'm trusting you. I'm trusting the process. Sometimes I can say it and I don't actually do it or believe it, but I've been working on trying to, when I say something like that I have to actually walk it out, no matter how hard it is. Yeah. And then God ended up giving him favor with the prison ward. And the prison warden? I keep saying, I don't know. I don't know if it's ward or warden. I think it's warden. I don't know. A lot of people say ward. Anyways, the prison warden ended up giving him power and control over everything that happened in the prison. Which is, it's just like, what? You did the right thing. You got thrown in prison. And then now you over the prison? You're a prisoner. And they put you as the head of the prison in a position of a warden. But you're a prisoner. That ain't nothing but God. Like, I don't think y'all understand him. It don't make sense. It doesn't make earthly sense. But it's because it makes God sense. And then the last thing I put is Joseph did not give God a footstool in his life. He gave him the will to lead him, when to take a turn, when to stop, when to go. And as a result of this, Joseph received the overload despite the world making his situation more difficult. And I know, even for me, I wouldn't even say I'm controllable, but I'm just very independent. And I like having a sense of control. I don't have to have control of the whole situation or whatever the case is. But I just like to do my own thing. That's the word. I like to do my own thing. So, with that being said, obviously it's harder for me to allow God to truly take the wheel every day. And a lot of people be like, yeah, like I gave God the will over my life. Well, you have to do that consistently every day. You have to give him, every time you wake up, you have to give him your will every single day. It can't be just a one-time thing, be like, oh God, you have the will forever. No, you have to actually give it to him every single day, because it just doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work that way. And me personally, I know a lot of us give the devil a footstool in our life, or even a foot in our door. Certain days, some days, maybe half your days. I don't know what y'all going through or whatnot, but I know all of us do it, because we all sin and we're not perfect. And the devil constantly tries to attack us every single day. But me personally, I don't want to give the devil something that I'm giving God. I don't want them to have the same accessibility. I want to give God everything, the will. And if the devil tries to put his foot in, I kick that door closed every time, while God is taking control, if that makes sense. Because if I'm taking control of the will, then I can't see that the devil has his foot in my door trying to get in. And yeah, God can see it, but it's up to me if I want the devil to be going or not. So I have to be the one closing that door. But I can't close the door if I'm driving. Y'all get what I'm saying? But that's all I have for today. Next video, I'll be talking about chapter 41. I'm gonna summarize chapter 40, because that's just him summarizing or interpreting the two dreams that he interpreted whenever he was in prison. But yeah, so again, I apologize for taking so long to upload a video, but we're back now. We're gonna be try to be consistent. Just because I already have the sermons written out, and I hope y'all's lives are good. Hope y'all are blessed. I hope you're not allowing life to frustrate you. Just give it to God. Just laugh. That's what I do. Just laugh. Life is funny sometimes. But continue to give God the will to your life every day. And you'll see the crazy places he brings you. Just like in Joseph's life. Like, can't no human elevate you every time you get persecuted. That's something God can only do. You know? So, yeah. Hope you have a good day. Thank y'all for tuning in. You can like, subscribe now. You ain't gotta like, subscribe, none of that. As long as you watch the video, I can see the views. I think y'all be blessed and encouraged by it. So, but if y'all don't, I can't force you to see it. So, yeah. Bye, y'all.